Hello and welcome to the Ice Guys. This is the show that takes you into the world of the National Hockey League. Every game, every day, from a betting perspective. With pro sports handicappers, Ian Cameron, Alex B. Smith, and various guests from the world of hockey and sports betting. And now, here's your host, Ian Cameron.
Welcome to the Ice Guys, Tuesday, June 9th. Ian Cameron with you. We'll have Alex B. Smith in a moment as well. Game 4 of the Stanley Cup Final. It's the Carolina Hurricanes and Vegas Golden Knights. Vegas leading the series 2-1 and an imperative Game 4. It's always the swing game of a series when it's 2-1. Game 4, it either goes 2-2, it becomes a best of 3 if the one team wins, or it's 3-1 and the other team is pushed to the brink of elimination if the other team wins. So this is a very, very important Game 4. And it's a great night, obviously, with this being a very important Game 4, to have one of these.
This is breaking news from the Ice Guys.
Yes, indeed. It is a BetCast night for Game 4 of the Stanley Cup Final. Very much looking forward to it. In fact, we are going to be going back-to-back, really, with BetCasts here for the next 2 games of the Stanley Cup Final. But tonight we will be with you for Game 4, Carolina-Vegas. We will begin at 8:15 p.m. Eastern Time. The game's not actually starting. The puck drop's actually 8:22 p.m. Eastern Time if you want to get to the exact minute when this game is starting. So we figured we'd start at 8:15 p.m. Eastern Time, so we'll be on about 5 minutes and change before puck drop tonight. So very much excited for it. It's a big game in the series, obviously. Very important one between the Hurricanes and Golden Knights. Live betcast. This one free for all, by the way. Just wanted to make sure people are aware of that. So everyone's invited. And if you want to join us on the betcast, you can DM or email either of us, me or Alex, for a spot on the betcast. And we will make sure we send you the link for the betcast tonight before it gets underway. So excited about it. Free for all. It's our last free for all betcast of the season tonight, and it'll be our last betcast of any variety on Thursday night when we're with you for Game 5 of this series. That one is Patreon exclusive, and that'll be our last betcast of the season. They've been fun as always. So again, these are your last 2 chances tonight. And then, of course, if you're a Patreon member, Thursday night, to join us for a betcast before the end of the season. So make sure if you're around, pop in and join us tonight for Game 4 between Carolina and Vegas. We've got the birthday boy in the house. Well, belated birthday now, but nevertheless, the 37 Club, Alex becoming a member of it yesterday. Happy belated birthday, Alex. Hope it was a good one. How are things? Things good?
Yeah, I think, just kind of rested. It was a much quieter birthday than years past. Just kind of chilled at home, ate some food, smoked some weed, and, watched the Wolves advance to the Calder Cup Final. That was a lot of fun getting to watch that game last night, but also watching some of the Knicks Spurs as well. So it was a nice, chill, relaxing birthday.
Yeah, and no doubt. And I made sure people were aware of this yesterday that, just because Stanley Cup Final is not taking place yesterday doesn't mean there's not good hockey to watch if you're paying attention. And we had, of course, Game 7 of the AHL Western Conference Finals last night, the Chicago Wolves and Colorado Eagles. And what a hockey game it was. I watched it start to finish, had it on, one of my screens along with the NBA. It was a tremendous game. I mean, it it was good pace to it. There were chances back and forth. It was pretty much close throughout. I think the biggest lead at any point was Chicago going up by 2. They were up 2-0 early. And then, of course, Colorado ended up coming back, tying it 2-2. And then Chicago with a great goal, Ryan Suzuki, right away after Colorado tied it 2-2, made it 3-2. And then, of course, they get the insurance marker, a big goal with about 5 minutes or so to go to make it 4-2. Colorado cuts it to 4-3. It certainly was a sweat right till the end, but that's as close as they would get. And the Chicago Wolves with a 4-3 win in Game 7. They're off to the Calder Cup Final to take on the Toronto Marlies. We have an original 6-city battle here for the AHL Calder Cup Final with the Marlies and the Wolves. So it should be very interesting. Chicago does have home ice advantage. They did finish with a few more points than Toronto. The one thing that's interesting about this series is that both of these teams are mirror images. Both of them had Monday, okay, but not great regular seasons. And both of them are playing their best hockey right now. And both of them had to win multiple series without home ice advantage to get this far. Chicago didn't have home ice advantage in any of their series, against Texas in the division semifinals, against Grand Rapids in the division finals, and against Colorado in the conference finals. They started on the road, in all three series. They were the underdog in all three series, and they managed to get the job done. And for Toronto, not only were they on the road for the division semifinals against Laval, division finals against Cleveland, and the conference finals against Wilkes-Barre Scranton, they actually had to play a play-in series just to get in the first round. Now, they did have home ice for that against Rochester, the best of three. So they actually had to play an extra round than Chicago. So these are two of the more unlikely participants, you would think, here in this year's AHL Calder Cup Final. Should be a great series, really, because you look at it, I think both teams have kept hearing the same characteristics by the broadcast summing up these teams and why they got this far. Tight-knit group, hard-working group, maybe overcoming a lack of depth, lack of scoring at some positions. Great goaltending, both teams. They got it from Primo early, Chicago. Then he got injured, and Amir Miftahov, just absolute Miftahov, absolutely outstanding in net for the Chicago Wolves. Like, I can't say enough how good he was. Amir Miftahov was just outstanding in these two games after Primo went down. Give him all the credit in the world. And to go on the road and win two games, 6-7, down 3-2 in that series. Outstanding work. The Marlies goalie has been Artur Akhtiamov, of course. We saw him play against the Islanders with the Toronto Maple Leafs during the season. They hung him out to fucking dry. I still remember that game. 40 shots. Could have been worse if not for him. He's been great in the playoffs. So good that he was the choice over Dennis Hildeby to be the playoff goalie for the Marlies. So going to be a good series. You got two guys to watch in this series, Alex, that are not going to be AHL players anymore at all after this series. Bradley Nadeau for the Chicago Wolves. He ain't going to be an AHL guy next year. He's definitely going to be with the Carolina Hurricanes. And Easton Cowan for the Toronto Marlies is definitely going to be with the Leafs full-time next year. So, Alex, congrats. I know you're a big Chicago Wolves fan. He is, too. He loves these Wolves almost every bit as much as those Blackhawks. So I know you're a happy guy seeing the Chicago Wolves to the Calder Cup Final.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's a talented bunch. Obviously, there's a lot of guys on this team who will be clawing for spots with Carolina next year. It's interesting. The goaltending has been fantastic. And, we talk about Caden Primo and his struggles in the NHL, but as an AHL goaltender, he's one of the best. But now he's hurt. And it's interesting looking back, and I mentioned this in our chat last year. You look at the 5 times that the Wolves have won a championship. 4 of those years, it came with a backup goalie. Going all the way back to their IHL years in 98 and 2000, it was Stefan Beauregard and Andre Trefilov stepping in late in the season, taking over for injured Wendell Young in both of those spots and winning Calder Cup. Pasi Nurminen in 2002. So it's something that the Wolves have historically been able to do, get a championship victory, winning it in a final round with a backup goaltender. It seems like they're going to have to do that again here against Toronto.
Yeah, looking forward. That'll start Friday night, by the way, with game 1. And once Primo went down, I actually, when I found out I'm like, who is this goalie? So I made sure I looked it up for Amir Miftahov, and that's how you pronounce it for this kid. He was actually a guy that was playing over in the KHL with Akbars Kazan. Actually ended up signing a 2-way deal with the Hurricanes organization prior to this year. Was in camp with the Hurricanes and obviously ended up getting reassigned to the Chicago Wolves at the beginning of the season. Obviously didn't play a ton because they had other goalies starting for them much of the year, but then all of a sudden, out of necessity, Primo goes down. Here's Amir Miftahov, and if you watch game 6 and 7 of this series, the guy was spectacular. He really was. He was summoning his Andrei Vasilevsky in this series, fellow countryman. You couldn't have asked for better goaltending, and they needed every bit of it because I saw the shot counts in those 2 games in Colorado. Colorado was racking up 30 shots, even close to 40. In these 2 games, and he was spectacular. But you need good goaltending, Alex, as you know, at this time of year.
Yeah. And it's funny, we talk about Carolina, and obviously, with the greatness that we've seen from Freddie Anderson this postseason. But Pyotr Kochekov's kind of in the middle of a mix of where he could find himself out of this organization, honestly. as well as he played early on, and we thought that he looked like he could be the number one guy. You got these guys, coming up through the ranks here with Carolina, and the fact that Freddie's playing so well is not like he's gonna be the guy getting moved at this point out. Especially obviously if Carolina goes on and wins the cup. So it's funny you have both of your top organizations playing well. It makes moves that could be happening in the offseason a lot different. You have a lot of harder choices. That front office has a lot to think about now at Carolina. There's guys that are winning in Chicago potentially that you may want to keep around, and then that makes things a little dicey. You don't have as much space, as much money with free agency for other guys outside the organization.
Yeah, no question. So, like I said, I'm looking forward to seeing the Chicago-Toronto series. And by the way, we should update the ECHL Kelly Cup Final. My guy is in trouble, man. Jordan Sambrook and his Florida Everblades. They have gotten their asses handed to them in these first two games by the Kansas City Mavericks, the likes of which I have not seen very often in this great 5-year run that they've put together as a team. They've been to the Kelly Cup Final 4 times in the last 5 years. I mean, they lost those two games, I think, by a combined, 11-2, something like that. So they've got some regrouping. Now, they do go back home to Estero now for game 3, 4, and 5 down in Florida, down 2-0 in the series. But certainly they got work to do in the Kelly Cup Final with the Everblades in some trouble and our guy Jordan Sambrook in some trouble with the Kansas City Mavericks. Before we recap what was a crazy, and I mean crazy, game 3 of the Stanley Cup Final on Saturday night. Yes, the Mike Babcock thing, we do have to address it. I don't know, it's crazy to me. I mean, how many times do you have to give a guy that's clearly got not the most scruples and coaching philosophies that are sound, that make any sort of sense to a reasonable human being? How do you keep giving this guy a chance? Really. And I blame everybody. I mean, the management's obviously on board with it, and Stanley Bowman doesn't shock me. He's involved with something that I don't agree with, don't like. And Daryl Cates, the same thing. This guy's someone that's kind of off the wall character, someone that'll do something, off the grid, to try to shake things up. And it does reek of desperation. Absolutely, it does. It's like we're doing anything, like we're just grasping at straws here. We're trying to figure out how we can push this thing over the top in what could be the last year or two that Connor McDavid's with this franchise. And we'll do anything we can, including hire a guy that's proven himself not to be trustworthy of how to handle and deal with players. I mean, he got a second chance in Columbus, and he couldn't even make it through fucking training camp with the team because he screwed up again. And Columbus had to part ways with him. And yet here he is getting another opportunity. Like, how many times does a guy have to fuck up before you realize, hey, we can't go that direction. We can't go down that pathway. We can't go that route. I mean, it's just absolutely insane to me that this is even a thing. And when I saw the tweet from Darren Drager, like, I couldn't believe it. I initially thought it was from a fake Darren Drager Twitter account. Like, I couldn't believe it. Like, that's how disbelieving I was that Edmonton was even considering Mike Babcock. And I'm hearing it's way on down the road. Everyone, Bob Stauffer, the Bulldog, who's as close as it gets with being dialed in with everything Edmonton, was saying that it's pretty much done, that they've chosen Mike Babcock. They're just waiting on NHL and NHLPA approval. And if they do approve that they're able to hire Mike Babcock, they're hiring him, apparently. So a rather staggering turn of events. I did not expect, Alex, Mike Babcock to be in the Edmonton Oilers' lives, or really the lives of any of us having to talk about him today, but yet here we are. Oh, wait. Get your mic. Yeah, there you go. Probably have to hit that little button, right?
Yeah, here we go. You got me now? Yeah. All right. Yeah, new headset issues. But, yeah, they went to the bottom of the recycling to grab Mike Babcock, and I don't quite know why. I'm sure there was other choices that would have fit this team a little bit better. And now, like you said, you have added more clouds over Connor McDavid in his potential final days in Edmonton by even making this kind of a move. And even if you don't end up getting Babcock, even if something goes haywire and you got to go get some other coach, now that you're still going to have that same kind of uncomfortable feeling you had in Columbus when Babcock had to go, like you said, right out of training camp. And now you got to start things over. You don't want to be in that kind of position. And obviously this is a pivotal point for the Oilers, because if they screw this up in this next year and a half, they don't get the heavy return that they deserve to get for moving Connor McDavid. If they can't hold on to him, or Draisaitl, or both, or what have you, they could put themselves in a spot where we're talking about a decade-long rebuild. And you got Stanley Bowman running that decade-long rebuild, which means it may take even longer, or it may not even, be completely finished as a building as a whole. So this is a rough spot here for Edmonton. I don't know how McDavid's gonna, feel and focus on this, focus about this, but I don't like it. I don't like this at all.
Yeah, I don't either. I mean, I'm like if he has success, I think there's a totally different situation from Quenneville, because Quenneville's getting a young team, up and coming team, and he's trying to take them to that next level. You've already had a team that's been going through frustrations for years, and you think they're going to be more at ease with fucking Mike Babcock coaching them all of a sudden? You got to be kidding me. So, like I said, it's just I don't like the direction they're going. I don't know how many times this is a guy that scratched Mike Modano and kept him from getting to a milestone in his career just because out of ego and selfishness and just trying to show that he's boss. Like Chelios has horror stories. Mike Commodore hates this guy's guts. If you've heard any podcast he's been on, like I said, I'm stunned we're at this point and we're talking about maybe Mike Babcock coaching in the NHL again. But nevertheless, like I said, Edmonton looks like they've made this choice, and it's just a matter of getting the approval they need. The other big news item in the NHL yesterday was the LA Kings hiring Peter Laviolette as their head coach. There's not really much I have to say. I mean, the first year I'm sure is going to go quite well because he comes in there, they have a good first season, and then it gets worse in the second year, worse in the third year, and he's out. That's basically the Peter Laviolette pattern. The last few head coaching spots that we've seen him in, whether it's Nashville, and it's been that way his whole career. Like Carolina, the immediate success. Philly, they get to the Cup Final his very first year and lose to Alex's Chicago Blackhawks. Nashville, they're a playoff team in Laviolette's first year. And they actually did make the playoffs 5 of the 6 years he was there in Nashville. 2 back-to-back playoff seasons in Washington for Peter Laviolette when he first arrived there. A terrific first season with the New York Rangers. If first in the division, get to the conference finals and lose to Florida, and then miss the playoffs in the second year, and he's out of there just like that. So there's not really much to add, Alex, other than, he'll have a good first year, and if they don't win the Cup in year 1, and I don't think they will, Los Angeles, it's all downhill from there, and we'll see in a couple of years, and they'll be looking for another coach. That's been the pattern. I mean, there's nothing. We're not splitting the atom figuring out how things have went with Peter Laviolette the last several coaching cycles. It's been the same old thing each time.
First thing that came to my mind was another first-round exit. This is be a Kings team that they'll make the playoffs, and then they'll run into some struggles and probably get bounced in about 5 or 6 games. That's kind of the way it goes. Once again, another recycling bin grab for a recycling bin franchise.
That's it. I mean, that's really it. I mean, I'm not a bit shocked the LA Kings are going the recycled coach route. I did not at any point think Ken Holland and the management group there was going to choose someone off the board. Give a younger coach a chance, someone maybe with a little less experience, someone with a little bit more of an innovative, new age way of thinking in the National Hockey League. I had no doubt in my mind LA would go the old dinosaur route, the old recycled route, go to the old bin, the recycle bin, and they have. And like I said, he'll have a good first year and all downhill from there. But we wish Peter Laviolette still the best with the LA Kings. But if you don't win it that first year, all downhill from there. That's been the pattern. Carolina better hope it's not all downhill from Saturday night, because that Saturday night game was just absolutely insane. That game was absolutely bonkers. I mean, we saw obviously a scoreless first period in that one. It was actually a very, very quiet, low event first period. I'm like, hey, we're finally going to get one of those 2-1 games in this series. So couldn't have been more wrong. It exploded in the second period. 2 Vegas goals disallowed and called back with successful Carolina challenges before we even got the first goal of that game. 1 to offside and 1 to goalie interference when Barbashev nailed Freddie Anderson in the side of the head on the goal that Vegas scored, the second one that got called back. And then all of a sudden the floodgates opened for the Vegas Golden Knights. 1-0, 2-0 Vegas. Of course, off Sean Walker. Mitch Marner with an incredible night, of course. He had 4 points in that period, ends up getting the hat trick as well for the Vegas Golden Knights, all within that second period to give them a 4-0 lead. It was Hurdle from Marner and Eichel, and then a The natural Hattie for Mitch Marner, 2-0, 3-0, 4-0. What a move he made on the 3-0 goal. He got stopped on a breakaway, got a second chance, made a deep move around Freddie Anderson, made it 3-0. And then, of course, bad pinch by Carolina. Marner down the right wing and rips it, posting in past Anderson for the 4-0 hat-trick goal. I mean, one of the more spectacular periods of hockey in the Stanley Cup playoffs from one player as we've seen in our lifetime, without a doubt. I mean, that's all you can say. And in that period, if Vegas wins the Cup, that second period, natural hat-trick performance by Mitch Marner sealed the Conn Smythe discussion. It's over. Vegas is winning the Cup. Mitch Marner is going to be the Conn Smythe Trophy winner. No question. It's over. At least on the Vegas side, it's over. He is going to be your Conn Smythe Trophy winner if the Vegas Golden Knights are Stanley Cup champions. And at that point, I thought, well, 4-0, too much to come down. Rod Brind'Amour, too much of a deficit to come back from. Rod Brind'Amour made the choice because my thought was, give Freddie a rest. Think about Game 4, and give Brandon Bussey a chance. And that's exactly what he did. What I didn't see coming was Carolina saying, oh, no, this game's not over yet. We ain't done yet. And incredible sequence, jaw-dropping sequence. Not one, not two, but 3 goals in a 39-second span. Martinook, Hall, and Stahl to make it 4-3 in the blink of an eye after being down 4-0. And then, of course, Svechnikov, it was a jam play at the net, and somehow the puck ended up getting in, courtesy of Svechnikov, tying it on the power play late in the third. 4-4, staggering turn of events. Because at 4-0, I thought that was done. Everybody thought that was done. Vegas is too good a team, too good of a defensive team to blow a lead like that. Even though they did cough up a 2-goal lead in Game 2, this was a 4-goal lead, and this at home. Like, we never expected Vegas to cough up that lead, and somehow it happened. And it had to go to overtime. And I thought Carolina, it felt like it was kind of their game to steal. But, Hart made some big, and I feel for Bussy because obviously we know it got to a double overtime. Shea Theodore shot from the point, banks in off the skate of Bussy and in for the overtime winner, and the 5-4 Vegas win in Game 3. All I have to say is I feel awful for Bussy because Bussy was spectacular. I thought Bussy was phenomenal from the moment he came in. And who would have thought stopping Mitch Marner on a penalty shot when it was 4-0 would turn into maybe a turning point to give Carolina a pathway back into that hockey game. And sure enough, that it started right from there. That huge stop on the Mitch Marner penalty shot gave them a chance. Bussy was great, and now it's created this incredible controversy going into tonight's game, which we'll get to. Anderson or Bussy, who's going to start in net for Carolina in this pivotal game. But an incredible hockey game in what has been 3 incredible games in one incredible series so far between the Vegas Golden Knights and the Carolina Hurricanes. And last thing I'll say before getting Alex's thoughts, Braden McNabb, you fucking warrior, I bow to you. We are not worthy for you, man, as an NHL hockey player. Seriously. The guts, birdcage, fishbowl, whatever you want to call it. He probably has trouble breathing. You got to believe it because his nose was all dented from taking that puck square on it in Game 2. I mean, all the surgery he had to go through just to put himself in a spot like breathe. And plus, you have all the energy you expend and you're having trouble breathing already. And you found a way to gut it out and play in that game in Game 3. I can't say enough how tough a son of a gun you've got to be. Braden McNabb, hats off to you, man. The whole hockey world is in awe of your toughness and your absolute warrior-like mentality to play that game in that kind of condition, Alex.
Yeah, over 25 minutes of ice time, and wearing like I said, the bird cage, having a broken orbital, fracture in his nose, a small fracture in his cheek. I mean, it's just absolutely incredible. That's what the playoffs are all about, and those are the kind of moments, and you have those players in those locker rooms. Those are guys that when you're slugging it a little bit and you're kind of dogging it in a shift, you look over and you see that guy on your bench and you go, no, I gotta pick it up. I gotta pick it up because this guy's playing through some immeasurable pain. It's, to be on here on the ice and be alongside of us. So those moments build these championship kind of teams. And when you look at Carolina and Vegas, and like I said, how tight it's been open as far as the scoring goes, but it's still been tight as far as how they measure and play against one another. And it's we haven't been wrong about the handicap necessarily. We just thought that, that the defense would come step up a little bit better. It's been the offense chipping in. It's been that secondary scoring chipping in. And like I said, it's not necessarily a bad knock on the goaltending. Like I said, Bussy made some great saves. And like I said, Bussy allows that goal to Marner on the penalty shot. It's 5-0. That game's over. We know for a fact that game's over. But him making that save gave them enough hope to where they could get some momentum rolling. And Carolina's a team that can roll off momentum, just like Vegas. These are two teams that are very streaky in that sense within a game, where you give them one goal, you know they can find a way to come back. We saw Vegas with all the third period comebacks throughout the end of the season and in the postseason. These are two teams, like I said, just give them a spark, and they'll be able to catch it and light a fire with it.
Yeah, no question. And like I said, this now is if you're Carolina, again, I keep going back to it. Vegas has definitely won more of the periods in this series, and yet Carolina can still come out of game 3 and think, man, we came back in game 2 and won. We came back in game 3, we almost won. If we can just finally, for a change, have a little bit of a better start, because really the only game they started great in was game 1 of the series, and that's the game Vegas came back from a 2-0 deficit to win game 1. So, like I said, that is definitely something that Carolina's got to focus on. Just having a little bit more of a better first 20 minutes, first half of the game, really, because even the first 30 minutes and just before the halfway mark of the second period of game 3 is really where that game started to get away from Carolina. At the end of the day, even though they did tie at 4-4, you can't make a habit of digging yourself that kind of hole and expecting to win. Should be a fascinating game 4. Let's dive into it now. We've got Carolina, Vegas. Vegas leading the series 2-1. Even money, -110 here, both sides for game 4 tonight. 5.5, 6 the total, depending on which book you're at. Some books have 5.5 with juice, some have 6. So make sure you shop around. If you like the under, find a 6. If you like the over, get a 5.5 here in this one. First of all, Carolina, because that's where I think a lot of the talking points are more on the Carolina side. Vegas, I don't expect their lineup to have as many changes at all going into this game, especially coming off a win. It looks like we're still going to have the same defense pairs. Obviously, McNabb played game 3. He's going to play game 4 again here. We're looking at pretty much status quo as far as the lineup here for tonight. Barbashev, Eichel, Stone, Howden, Carlson, Marner, Hurdle, Sissons, Dorofeyev, and Smith, Dowd, Kolasar, your 4 forward lines. But there is going to be some shakeups for the Carolina Hurricanes. First of all, in net, Freddie Anderson did not practice yesterday. He was not even on the ice. They said it was a maintenance day. Brandon Bussey was in the starters net for Carolina at practice yesterday. That's not, I think, 100% determination right there that he's going to start tonight, Bussey. We'll have to see. Maybe they've just given him rest. Now, he did take a little bit of a knock at the side of the head. Don't forget about what happened with that Barbashev contact that led to that disallowed goal. That could be part of it as well. I think at the end of the day, if you ask me who I think is going to start, I think it's Bussey, but I'm not going to be 100% sure. We should know pretty soon, because I know Vegas was on the ice for a pregame skate earlier. Carolina's probably on the ice or just about to hit the ice right now. So there's actually a chance that we might even find out the mystery answer to this question before we wrap up the show. But we don't know for sure yet whether it's going to be Brandon Bussey or Frederick Anderson. I think here's my theory on this, Alex. I think either way, there's reasons to like Carolina in the spot tonight, regardless of who the goalie is. If it's Bussey, you get that adrenaline lift for Carolina, and a guy that came in there and played brilliant, really, in the third period and overtime. You couldn't have asked for anything more. And the goal that went in on Bussey was just a horseshit goal. Horseshit. It was terrible. I mean, terrible bad luck, terrible bad puck luck there. And other than that, he was terrific. But if you go to Freddie Anderson, he gets pulled in game 3. He's finally got a little bit of rest now, because he's played a lot of hockey in these playoffs. And this is a guy that, like a lot of goalies, you usually see a goalie that got pulled in the previous game really step up and play better, and the team rallies around it for that goalie. So I don't think Rod Brind'Amour is in a major lose-lose situation either way. I think you can make good cases both ways, and cases that could, benefit this team, mentally. They'll get a bump from Bussey because he played well, and that sparked the comeback. in game 3. But you can also say, you know what, Freddie off a little bit of a shaky game, a little bit of rest now for an older goalie and coming back. And goalies usually bear down after they get pulled. That you could see him play a much better game, and they rally around that too if Freddie Anderson's in there. So I don't think I'm not going to be putting my foot down and saying, oh, I hate this decision to go with Bussy, or, oh, I hate this decision to go with Anderson. I get the cases for both of those arguments, going into game 4 here tonight. One thing we know about Carolina is there's no quitting the team. I mean, the fight, the ability to just find a way to bounce back, it's been incredible in game 2 and in game 3. Now, game 2, they won with the comeback. Game 3, they fell short of winning, losing in overtime despite the 4-goal comeback. But what that proves to me is Carolina, is still very much in this series. And we have to bring up, obviously, the fact that this Carolina team in bounce-back mode has been damn near unbeatable since January. Perfect 13-0 for the Carolina Hurricanes off a loss since January. That's the last time we have seen this team lose 2 games in a row. I got to saddle myself to Carolina tonight at -110. I do. I think and I kind of said this could, end up being one of those back and forth series. You want to be on the team that lost the previous game. We've seen it play out that way so far. Vegas game 1, Carolina game 2, Vegas game 3. Regardless of who the goalie is for the Carolina Hurricanes tonight, I am on the Canes. You can get them anywhere from -105 to -110, right around that even money price. I am going to be on them tonight here in this one. 5.5s, if you can find them. I found a couple 5.5s at -130. Did bet some over 5.5. Not first period over anymore, because we've now seen a pattern where the goals are coming later in the game, not necessarily in the first period. And I'm going back to the well with a couple same game parlays that cashed for me in game 3. Even though I'm on Carolina money line, this is only going to be if Freddie Anderson plays. This is an SGP with an asterisk next to it. It's if Frederik Anderson's in net. If he is in net, I'm going to be on the Carolina +2.5, Vegas +2.5, and Vegas team total over 2.5 same game parlay, because Freddie Anderson's on this crazy, not so good run of giving up at least 3 goals to the Vegas Golden Knights. I mean, Jonathan Davis has talked about it in our chat. So if it's Anderson in net, I'm probably going to end up going to that SGP. Regardless of who's in net for Carolina, Bussy or Anderson, I'm also going to a SGP that cashed for me in game 3 and is 3-0 in this series as well. And that's Carolina +2.5, Vegas +2.5, both teams to score 2 goals. And that is +102 at FanDuel. Great price. It's cashed in all 3 games in this series. And it's a perfect bet when you think of it. The teams have been close. There's been very little separation. Both teams have easily gotten to 2 goals in every game so far in this series. So you can take the Canes +2.5, the Golden Knights +2.5, and both teams to score 2 goals +102 at a plus price. To me, it's great. It's a great bet. It's 3-0 in this series, and we're going to come back to it here tonight in game 4. I'll get to the props in a minute, but first, Alex, your thoughts. Game 4, how are you approaching it? Carolina, Vegas.
Like I said, we felt this was going to be a back and forth start to the series. Didn't expect, like I said, it's high of scoring so far, and certainly, he said now with the Bussy Anderson debate, and it's not so much like I said the debate like it would be in the regular season. Anderson's playing, as I've been saying for the last few weeks, the goaltending performance of his life, honestly, in this stretch. And I would honestly look to play him early, but maybe run with a bit of a short leash with him. If he gives up a couple of soft goals, then you go to Bussy, and then at that point you just got to pretty much ride Bussy, because you don't want to have that musical chairs going the rest of the series. But I think that's probably the best way to do that. If you start Bussy now, say Bussy has a great game and give you a win, now you're at this point where you're forced to kind of throw Anderson under the bus, even though he's played as well as he has. So that's my take on how I would run it if I was Brenda Moore in that spot. But like I said, either way, I feel like Carolina can get up and get a win here. At -$1.10, I did grab the money line. I also did grab a couple of parlays. Carolina with the under 7.5 +123 over at FanDuel, and Carolina with under 6.5 +210 over at BetMGM. So those are the 2 spots that I like as well. And I'm also leaning with the second period, both teams to score +138 over at FanDuel. I think we're gonna see that low and slow first period again, and then second period might be where things kind of open up offensively.
There are, in my opinion, a bunch of, and I'm not a shots on goal guy, and if because of the fact that I don't like shots coming off the board, that pisses me off, and I know it really frustrates a lot of other people I know that bet shots on goal props. That being said, there's been some great value with several players that are really going consistently over their shots on goal number, and with very little adjustment by odds makers. And there's a bunch of players that fall into this category. William Karlsson, Wild Bill for Vegas. He's gone over 1.5 shots on goal now in 6 straight games. And there's been very little adjustment in the price. You can still get -130 to -140 for William Karlsson over 1.5 shots on goal right now for Vegas. He's gone over that number in 6 straight games. How about the two Jordans, the law firm of Jordan and Jordan for Carolina. Jordan Martinook and Jordan Stahl for the Carolina Hurricanes. They've gone over 1.5 shots on goal in all 3 games in this series, 4 straight games overall. And again, the prices are dirt cheap. These guys are ripping puck. They are ripping that puck. They are firing it. They are putting the rubber to the net. And right now, Martinook, you can still get him at -115, -120 for over 1.5 shots on goal. And Jordan Stahl, over 1.5 shots on goal. It's even even money at some spots for that. Like, it's insane, the value. Like, are people not watching that Jordan Stahl has scored in 3 straight games? Maybe adjust the shots on goal number a little bit, or the price at least, if you're going to keep it at 1.5. I mean, my goodness. It is just great value for both of them, Martinook and Stahl. Not to mention, based on the line combinations I'm seeing, Rod Brind'Amour is planning on moving Jordan Martinook to the top line with Sebastian Aho and Andrei Svechnikov. That's the way it finished in Game 3. Hall, Stankoven, and Blake, that's the one line that's not getting adjusted at all. Ehlers, Stahl, and Jarvis, the third line, the newly formed third line for Carolina. So basically, Jarvis has been taken off the Aho Svechnikov line. Martinook was put on that line, and it looks like it might stay that way here in Game 4. Carrier, Jankowski, and Robinson, the fourth line. And then, of course, Slavin, Chatfield, Miller, Walker, Gostisbehere, Nikishin, remaining the defensive pairings. So, and not just with Jordan Martin. And if Jordan Martinook's going to be on that top line tonight with Aho and Svechnikov, not only the shots on goal prop is a great bet, but goal prop, assist prop. I mean, I'm seeing the goal prop plus 600. He actually got Carolina's first goal to start that comeback in Game 3 in the third period. He got the goal that made it 4-1, got the Hurricanes on the board. Jordan Martinook plus 600. Jordan Stahl scored in 3 straight games. He was my bargain bin special for Carolina in Game 3, plus 475. We still have to keep going to the well with that, in my opinion, in addition to the shots on goal prop. Getting back to shots on goal, Brett Howden for Vegas, all 3 games in this series, he's gone over 1.5 shots on goal. That price is cheap at minus 120 for him to go over 1.5 shots. Rasmus Andersson, defenseman for Vegas, he's gone over 1.5 shots on goal in all 3 games in this series as well. I mean, and you're getting plus money on that, plus 120 for Rasmus Andersson, over 1.5 shots on goal. Obviously, Brett Howden, goal, assist, point props are worth a look. I know he finally didn't score last game, but still worth a look, especially because he is shooting the puck and he's been red hot in the playoffs. So there are just boatloads of great value bets as far as shots on goal. Mitch Marner's gone over 2.5 shots, and that's plus money in back-to-back games. Mark Stone's gone over 1.5 shots in back-to-back games. But the ones I like the most are all those players that have gone over their shot numbers 3 games in a row or more. Howden and Anderson for Vegas, Martinook and Stahl for Carolina, Karlsson for Vegas, William Karlsson, who's gone over 1.5 shots in 6 straight games. They're all worth a look. Brett Howden, Tomas Hertl, Jordan Stahl on 3-game point streaks. They've collected a point in all 3 games. I would go goal assist with both because we've seen Howden, Hertl, and Stahl also get on the board and find the back of the net for in this series. So all 3 of them, don't just bet point prop. Do the goal assist split. It's better return for you with those 3 guys because they've all scored, goals, multiple goals in this series. Howden, Hertl, and Stahl. So yeah, not just the point prop, goal and assist with those two guys. Eric Robinson, 2 straight games with a point. Now both of his points have been assists, not goals, but he has still been able to make, and at plus 270 is the point prop for Eric Robinson. So just crazy value, great good value there on that. Svechnikov's got points in back-to-back games. Marner's gone over 1.5 points in 2 straight games. Stankoven's got points in back-to-back games. Seth Jarvis has points in back-to-back games. So those are some people to look at. I mentioned the 2 Jordans are definitely going to be on the card for goal props tonight. Stahl and Martinook, without question. Taylor Hall, Stankoven, and Blake. I just feel, especially with Carolina needing this win, they've got to have a big game. So the goal props with them, I'm certainly interested in them as well here tonight. And what else? Oh, yeah, Vegas. Close shave Barbashev. Yes, as long as he's on the top line, and I'm still going to see plus 360 for him to score a goal. I know I used him as the Vegas bargain bin in Game 3, and so did Alex, and he didn't score, but the value's still there. The value's still great. Plus 360. It's on the top line. He's certainly had his share of chances in this series. So there's a lot of great props tonight in this game. Just value, just things that odds makers are not adjusting for or adjusting to. And hopefully we can take advantage of that. And it's probably a product of, Alex, it's a Stanley Cup final. It's June, and there's just other priorities. I mean, I'm just flabbergasted that Martinook and Stahl are shooting this puck like crazy right now in this series. And we can see it. They're getting chances. They're making it happen. They're getting opportunities. And yet here's their shot numbers again. 1.5 is their shots on goal prop. Very little, if any, adjustment. They didn't even really move the juice up on it. And you're still getting great value. So take advantage. No question.
Yeah, absolutely. I absolutely agree with that. I mean, he's on my card tonight. So
yeah, no question. Like, those are the two. I mean, to me, Aho's been tepid. Svechnikov's been tepid. The guys you want to target are the Jordan and Jordan. Those two in particular, they've been good. They've been noticeable. They've been getting chances. And obviously, the Stankoven, Hall, and Blake line just continues to make it happen for this team. So those have been the ones you want to target here for the Carolina Hurricanes. Great stuff. Shout out to everyone in the chat. Hit the like button. We appreciate it very much. Looking forward to the Betcast tonight, 8:15 p.m. Eastern time. Note the start time. We'll be on starting at 8:15 p.m. Eastern time. That'll be about 5 to 7 minutes before puck drop for Game 4 tonight. Carolina, Vegas. DM or email me or Alex for a spot on the Betcast to join us 8:15 p.m. Eastern time tonight. Check out wizardsportspicks.com. NHL and NBA Finals, CFL, MLB, and more, wizardsportspicks.com, and the YouTube channel. Tons of great content there as well. And, of course, patreon.com/Ice Guys, $10 per month. Goalie charts, totals charts, daily betting card. It'll be NHL tonight. It'll be other sports on the non-Stanley Cup Final game days that gets posted as the daily card. I posted Alex's I hope you bet the Chicago Wolves, all of you, last night. Plus 150. Alex did. I put that on the Patreon page yesterday. I had some NBA and MLB posted on the Patreon page yesterday. It ended up being a pretty solid day. We did well with the NBA game. We had the Spurs first quarter, the over in the Spurs and Knicks. So I was very happy with that. So make sure you check it out. I'll have MLB. I'll have CFL. I'll have some World Cup soccer because I am going to be betting it throughout the tournament. That'll be on the Patreon page throughout the summer months. If Alex has anything in, boxing,
UFC this weekend, the UFC Freedom 250 that they're calling it on the White House lawn. Yep, which we presume will still go on, even though there's this
should be quite the spectacle.
Projecting a bunch of rain and wind during that, so we'll see how everything happens. But I have a couple of bets lined up for that this weekend, so that will be on the Patreon page.
Not to mention, Alex might get involved in a few of those AHL Calder Cup final games with his Chicago Wolves involved against the Toronto Marlies. So anything we bet that's not NHL, we will be posting it up on the Patreon page daily throughout the season. For those of you that want to keep your subscriptions and your Patreon memberships going throughout the NHL offseason. Plus, our NHL free agency recap show in July will be exclusive to Patreon members as well. So, plus a lot of player suite recordings coming up as well throughout the summer. So, all that and more, $10 per month. Your membership goes a long way to supporting the show and keeping it going long term. Patreon.com/Ice Guys.
And also check out the Ice Guys store at iceguys.myspreadshop.com. You have until midnight tonight Eastern Save 20% on all items available at the store. We've been running this for the last 9 days now, and here's finally winding down. It's a great time to grab a couple T-shirts, grab a cap, grab some stickers, grab a mug. We've got all kind of wonderful items, and you can save 20% off by hitting that redeem button at the homepage, add your items to the cart, and taking 20% off at checkout. That is until midnight tonight Eastern at iceguys.myspreadshop.com.
Bargain bin special of the night and best bets coming up right after we hear from our great Ice Guy sponsors.
Wizard Sports Picks, featuring the finest handicappers in the universe. Sharp insights, trusted picks, and relentless results. We strive to help you become consistent winners. This is Wizard Sports Picks.
All right, bargain bin special of the night. Yeah, we did have one come through for us on Saturday night with Game 3. Jordan Stahl, the captain of the Carolina Hurricanes, cashing for us with one of the bargain bin special selections. See if we can add to it here. Game 4, a betcast night. So again, make sure you join us for that during the game. But bargain bin special of the night, we'll start with Alex. What do you got?
Let's go with two. We'll go with one from each team. First, we'll start with Vegas, and we're going to go right back to the well with Ivan Barbashev. I'm seeing plus 340 again at FanDuel with him. Like I said, had some quality chances. I think he can get one in the night for the Golden Knights here. So that'll be my first bargain special, Ivan Barbashev. Anytime goal, plus 340. The second one for Carolina, we'll go with Shane Gostisbehere. You can get him plus 525 anytime goal. We've seen him chip in. Said those defensemen, with those shots on the point, that's got to be a way you got to find to beat Carter Hart. So get Shane Gostisbehere plus 525 anytime goal scorer. That'd be my Carolina pick for a bargain special for Game 4.
Great stuff. All right, excellent. There you go. Barbashev, Gostisbehere for Alex with his bargain bin specials, and I too will go with one from each team. God, it was not easy to say. You know what? It was not easy for me to say let's not go with Jordan Stahl again. That was because Jordan Stahl, we cashed with him the other night. He's actually scored in 3 straight games. I was so tempted to come back to Jordan Stahl tonight for my Carolina bargain bin special of the night, but I'm not going to, and I'm still going to be betting Jordan Stahl, but we can only pick one Carolina player. I have to go with the player moving up to the top line at the value that we see. Jordan Martinook, plus 600. If you're going to give me plus 600 on Jordan Martinook on the top line with Aho and Svechnikov tonight here for Games 4, that's bargain bin worthy right there. So Jordan, and he did score the first goal to get the comeback started for Carolina in Game 3. Jordan Martinook, Carolina, plus 600 for my first bargain bin special of the night. My second bargain bin special of the night, I mentioned how he's gone over 1.5 shots in 6 straight games for the Vegas Golden Knights. Let's hope one of those shots finds its way into the back of the net. Wild Bill, William Karlsson for the Vegas Golden Knights, plus 475 for him. So there you go. Jordan Martinook, Carolina, plus 600, and William Karlsson for Vegas, plus 475 for my 2 bargain bin specials for Game 4 of the NHL Stanley Cup Final. All right, best bets. Alex, what do you got for best bet?
Yeah, let's go with a little parlay action. Give me Carolina money line tied to the under 7.5 plus 123 available at FanDuel. If we get this Carolina victory here, we will now be tied 2-2 in the series, and that'll get us right into that 6-game, 7-game spot that we're looking for. So give me Carolina and the under 7.5 parlay together plus 123 is my best bet for Game 4.
All right, good stuff. And my best bet, get that Scorpions karaoke going. Here I am, da-da-da-da. Rock you like a hurricane, rock you like a hurricane. Carolina, minus 108. We're going with Carolina. 13-0 off a loss. How are we going to go against a streak like that? They've shown their mettle. They've shown their ability to bounce back. Carolina, minus 108 for my best bet here for Game 4. Shout out to everyone in the chat. Hit the like button. Betcast tonight. Looking forward to it. A reminder, the Ice Guys is live every Stanley Cup Final game day. And if you can't watch the show live, download the podcast in audio form on all major podcast platforms. For Alex B. Smith, I'm Ian Cameron. Have a great Tuesday night. See you for the Betcast tonight. And again, our next daily show for Game 5 Thursday at 2 p.m. Eastern right here on the Ice Guys.